I'm Crystal from Cow Ranch, and I want to show you how to set up a chick brooder today. A brooder is simply just a container that holds growing chicks. You want to have your brooder set up completely before you buy baby chicks. They're really just babies and they need to stay warm. We're covering all the basics today. This is your Chick 101. Let's get started. There's some things that you're going to need to start raising your baby chicks. You can find all of these at your local cow ranch. First of all, we have a bale of wood shavings, and then we have a bag of chick feed. You can get medicated or non-medicated. Stick till a little later to find out the difference between the two. Then we have a kit that has 2 different kinds of feeders, a waterer and a heat lamp. We have an extra bulb just in case. We have a packet of electrolytes and a packet of probiotics, a scoop, and finally our container. The first thing you need to do is get your brooder ready. For right now, we're using this little plastic tub. You can use anything from a stock tank to an actual brooder kit, which we sell. It's just whatever works best for you. We're gonna put this brooder somewhere in our house that's quiet and warm. Chicks do best when they can rest often and don't really get disturbed. They're babies and they need their sleep. Once I found the perfect spot in my house, it's time to add the pine shavings. You can use pine shavings or straw. Remember to avoid cedar shavings. They're toxic to chickens and can cause respiratory issues. Now that we got the shavings put in, we can open our kit. Remember, you can get this at Cow Ranch. It has everything that you need. Now that we've gone through our kit, we can start placing things in the brooder. The first thing we're gonna start with is our waterer. This is where you're gonna fill your waterer. You're gonna place it upside down, fill it up, screw the lid on top. You can put electrolytes or probiotics in the water if you would like. And this is going to go on the opposite side of the heat lamp. Chicks need cool, fresh water. They would much rather sleep underneath their heat lamp than have their water there. Next up, we're gonna put in the feeder. I'm using this feeder for right now. It's smaller and a lot easier for the baby chicks to get into. You just easily open it, put the food inside, and close it. We're gonna put the feeder directly in the middle. Next, we're gonna install our heat lamp. Remember, you want it to be on the opposite side of the waterer so they have cool water. Just clamp it onto the side of your brooder and angle it down. This kit has everything you need to get started, but just in case, I always keep an extra heat lamp bulb on hand. You never want your chicks to get cold, so if a light goes out, you need to be able to replace it. You wanna make sure that your heat lamp is high enough up. Chicks can overheat really easily. We're gonna be using ping pong balls as an example, since chicks aren't really models. If they spend a lot of time huddled together in a clump, they might be a little cold. If they spend time sleeping next to the water or on all the far edges, it might be a little too hot. Warm and happy chicks spread out and sleep under their heat lamp all day long. Just like we talked about at the beginning of the video, there's 2 different types of chick feed. There's medicated and there's non-medicated. This bag that we have is medicated. You want to be feeding medicated chick feed to chicks that haven't been vaccinated for coccidiosis. Medicated feed is not approved for ducks or geese, so if you are also raising them, you want to make sure to be feeding non-medicated chick starter. Congratulations! You've set up a great brooder, and now it's time to run to Cow Ranch and pick up your new baby chicks. Now that we have picked the birds best for our flock, it is time to put them in their brooder that we set up earlier. First, we need to dip our chicks' beaks into their water so they can understand where it is and they can find it later. It might seem a little mean, but you should do it so they know where to get a drink after their long ride home. While your chicks are getting settled in over the next few days, you are going to want to check on them multiple times a day. We are wanting to check and make sure that they are eating, drinking, and that their food and water is clear of shavings. Our goal while caring for baby chicks over the next 16 or so weeks is to have clean, dry bedding, fresh, cool water, and clean food. Remember, they are babies, and they're not very smart. They poop literally everywhere. They spill food and water all over, and it makes our goal of keeping things clean pretty hard. But they're so sweet and cute, and it makes all of it worth it to hear their chirping. The 3 things you have to keep clean regularly is their bedding, feeder, and waterer. Shavings, or bedding, is the hardest thing to clean, so let's cover that one first. I use a technique called layering. At first, I lay down a thin layer of shavings, and then daily I add another layer on top to give the chicks fresh bedding. After about 3 days, I will take everything out of the brooder and clean all of the shavings out and start over again. This is how I do it. You'll have to judge your situation and how often they need to be cleaned. Some people clean them every day. It all depends on your amount of chicks and how much space you have. When you check on your chicks, you'll want to brush out any shavings or poop in their feeder. You can use a paper towel, a paintbrush, your hand, whatever works best for you to get everything out of their food. I dump out and refill their food completely every 4 or 5 days. It might seem a little wasteful, but they need fresh food. You will need to clean out your chicks' water about twice a day. Make sure they always have fresh, clean water. When cleaning out the waterer, rinse it out and refill it with clean water. If you are using the probiotic or electrolyte and vitamin packets, you'll want to follow the instructions on the packets and add it in. I clean my water out with soap and water about every 3 days to make sure I get any of the residue out. If you notice shavings getting into the food or water more than normal, you can add in a piece of wood or a brick under the feeder or waterer to keep it above the shavings. This is also helpful as they get older to help them reach. You're going to be amazed at how fast these chicks grow. They'll get more active, and at some point they're going to start trying to hop on top of their feeder or waterer and might want to go exploring. You can use a lid on top of your brooder to help keep them in. Some people use cardboard or a piece of wood, but I use some wire attached to wood to place over the top. If you use cardboard or wood, you'll need to watch them closely since heat will get trapped in the brooder and they can overheat quickly. You can also use something like an old window screen for a lid to give them plenty of ventilation. I hope this video was helpful and encourages you to try your hand at raising chicks. If you have any questions, reach out to an associate in a brown vest for help. Follow Cal Ranch on all socials for more tips and tricks for raising chickens.